Hello everybody, GL1 here. Welcome to my online toy museum, and today I'm going to talk to you about King Kong. And what inspired this episode is this fella here. So this King Kong is the 2021 King Kong vs. Godzilla high-end, I'd say, action figure. You can see it has a lot of joints and articulation. Some of that idea worked really well, and some of it, not so good. So the things that work well is that it does have a lot of motion that you can incorporate into your figure and, position him in lots of different ways. You can see the separation here between the lats and the shoulders. And then you can see all the ability to twist and turn the arms. And if it comes apart, which it can, you can just push things back together. What's a little weird is how, this is a separate piece. You see this bicep piece is separate. That's so it can move more. But it's a little different, right? The way that, normally figures don't have a separate piece of plastic that wraps around and can get dislodged. But you can always move it back into position. Also the gap here between, now here's another piece that's just a separate wraparound piece, is this lat torso piece, and it gives you a big gap here, so you kind of have to mush things around to cover the gaps to give it more of a realistic look. And you have good wrist turning, you have the double knee action. And again, now here's the thigh, also moves around a lot. And, you can move it, and then you get that space between where the, the femur attaches into the torso. But, you have good feet attachments. And you have a great looking weapon, made out of one of the back spikes of Godzilla, fashioned into an axe. Also, what's nice on him is you can change the head. So you have Calm Kong, and then you can have Roaring Kong. And that comes on and off easily, so you have a ball joint there. The nice thing, too, about this is you see the neck also can shift separately. So that can give you a little bit more expressiveness. So you would just push that in there. And then, not only does the head turn, but the neck moves a little bit. So you can, get a pretty good realistic look as far as how he's moving his head. And let's see, I think he has hands. Yeah, so he comes with 6 other hands. So quite a lot of variation you can do. You can do a gorilla fist. You have the big slapping hand. What's nice is it really is the proportion of a Godzilla. Of a gorilla. With the shorter fingers in proportion to the size of the hand, and even knuckle walking, which is what gorillas do. So you can position them like that for either hand. So pretty neat. To have all that variation. Of course, it's also a bunch of pieces you can lose. So you got to have, probably a good idea to put all your King Kong parts in one place. If you want to see how he scales to the Godzilla from the same time, so you can see, let me move the camera back here. And so you can see that, it's a good scale to the Godzilla. He had a bigger mouth, so he could bite onto Godzilla, get a big hunk of scales in his mouth, if they weren't getting along. And here's the box. So you can get that. You can get this. You can find this for as little as $25 right now, because originally it was like $50, $60. So pretty good to be able to get, just a really nice, well-articulated King Kong, for $25. So there's, over the years since King Kong has gained a lot more popularity since the King Kong versus Godzilla movie. They came out with like a rubber Kong, little guy here. And then you have your larger Kong. And these are, all have come out since the movie, just it got popular again. When I was a kid, that guy keeps falling. There was very few King Kong toys, and they look like just a really angry gorilla, and it was all rubber, that real rubber that was smelly. If any of you remember, real dark black, real gummy, and he had like one arm up in the air like this, and then there was no wire inside like this guy has, so you couldn't put him in any other position. You could just use your hand to make him fight or whatever. That pretty much was the only King Kong. And then there was like another one that looked like that, but that was hard. It was like the same mold, but just hard plastic. So anyway, this is a bendy. I try not to bend things too much because the wire breaks inside and then that's it. So in a way, it's kind of like, well, if you're never bending it, then it's never getting played with either. But if you play with it, then it breaks and then you can't play with it the same way. So I don't know, it's a catch-22. But, as you can see, though, it's a really good mold for a gorilla, very muscular and kind of cute. All right, so, just to scale that to our most recent guy, so it's a little bit smaller, All right. Well, also within the past few years, they've come out with this Kong, which is like from the original Kong back in the day, like back in the 1920s. You had, King Kong in black and white, and they even sell this action figure in black and white, which I'm not interested in that. But, you can see it's got, the torso articulation in here, and you have the double elbows and the double knees, and it's got kind of a ratcheted joint. This is one of those, though, you might want to be careful moving them around too much, that you don't, it's that the plastic is warm, okay? You don't want to crack something. And what's really nice is the chains that you put on. I never really liked this figure that much till I put the chains on him. They add an aspect, kind of a dynamic look to him. And they're not even easy to take off. Okay, you just have to get your fingernail in there. But you see it's pretty realistic looking. And you actually have a hinge. So it opens like that, and then it snaps shut. And that just snaps into there. But here, I'll show you. If you take the chains off, because, they chained him up. They brought him to New York, and then he got loose and, went on a rampage and climbed up the Empire State Building. And then, they sent the planes after him and shot him up, and he fell and is real sad. So here he is without the chains. And then I think it's kind of cool, when he has the chains on. Looks like, he's bursting out. And you just snap that on. And then, I think it looks pretty cool like that. He also has a different head that you can change out. I can't believe how well this snaps together. Actually, I never put the chains on until I was getting ready for this show. And I like it. So here is the other head. So you have, I don't know, he's not quite as angry, right? So you can just take that head off. And you get a pretty good articulation on that head, right? Looks around. And then it's another ball joint. But you see, then they have the neck. It moves inside. You can see how the joint, it all moves around. So that's why you get such great articulation. Snap that on. And then there you go. And he's got, boo-boos, on his chest and everything, all scarred up. At least they didn't put like machine gun bullets that he was shot up with the airplanes. When my son was a little kid, I mean really young, we were watching the old King Kong, and I was curious. I asked him, who do you want to win, King Kong or New York? And he chose New York. And that was so different because I always would root for the monster. I thought the monster was cute. I wanted King Kong to win, but that's his character, always loving people. So, all right, so that's this Kong. So here's another King Kong, all right, a NECA King Kong. And I like this model a lot. Just the fur, really thick and detailed. It's got the torso joint. I like the darker color. I like that he's thicker, more muscular. And look, he can hold on to his damsel. And, she's, oh no. This could be the King Kong from like the 1970s, I think it's 77 movie, And then, he fell off, right? They remade it. So he gets shot up, he falls off, and they give him an artificial heart and bring him back for a sequel, believe it or not. Okay, so I had to look up her name. It's Ann Darrow was the name of the character. And the movie was in 1933. The actress that played her, Vina Fay Ray, lived almost 100 years. She lived to like 97. So that's pretty great. All right, so this one also has a different head. So real angry Kong there. Now, the problem with this figure, it doesn't have the greatest articulation either. It is really stiff. It's and just doesn't have the mobility. But the problem is that the head, you can move it around, it falls off way too easily. So you got to move it around, and again, you have the ball joint that moves from the neck, so you can get some great facial expression or body expression, like body language. But the head falls off really easily, so you have to keep popping it on. So that's a little bit annoying. It's just not, tight enough. But you can see just really, really angry. You don't, want to mess with him. And it always has the three, I guess the dinosaur, when he was on Dinosaur Island that attacked him, it wasn't, maybe it had 3 fingers or those are foot claws, because T-Rex only has 2. He also has some extra hands, so you have another fist and, these other 2 fists and then another grabbing, or get away from me hand, have him climbing a building or something like that. All right, so we can also compare the scale. All right, so the NECA Godzilla, much bigger than the, I believe this one's also NECA, the Godzilla versus Kong. King Kong. Always could say Godzilla. All right, well, then we have from also the Godzilla versus Kong movies, right? And I've shown these before, but actually I haven't shown them together. So you have these 2 King Kongs, and they're from the same time, but they're different size, different scales, a little bit, well, slightly, So you can see that the one on the right is larger. It's a little bit taller, and the head is bigger. And, it really looks different in significant ways, right? The body is different. The abs are different. But, that's, again, they're both great, right, in their way. And then you have, another nice axe made out of the Godzilla fin spike. And these were only like $10. They collect hair because it's static. It's attracted to the plastic. But they have great articulation for $10. You get, the arms move around, shoulders and fists, and good hip articulation, and, the knees move, and the heads and everything. So for $10, not bad. And they usually come with an accessory or 2. Like this one came with a helicopter. You could swipe at the helicopter, and he came with this ship anchor. And, he can move his head around. And again, you got the great articulation in the hips. And this one, you can even move the feet. The other one, you can't move the feet. But this one, you can move the feet as well as the knees and the hips. So, even better articulation. I was lucky to find this clearance somewhere for like $6. All right, so this guy here, if you remember, he's not a Kong, but he looks kind of like a Kong. This is a leatherback from the Pacific Rim movie, right? And he's, got a gorilla-shaped body, right? He's got the big, long, powerful arms and the shorter legs in the back, and he can open and close his mouth and, turn his head and everything. It looks like a gorilla, right? Well, another guy that looks kind of like a gorilla, well, that is a gorilla, I'm sorry, but is Gorilla Grodd. All right, so this is from the DC universe, right? And it'd be great if you could take his armor off, but this is Gorilla Grodd. And, you could always pretend that this is King Kong with armor, and so he's going to help out Godzilla, now that he's armored up. Because apparently these guys can have armor, because there's, toys with King Kong or Godzilla that have armor, that I've highlighted, actually. I have those, the King Kong that it's like a transformer and you can turn it around and flip the head and put the armor on. And they have Rodan that does that, or Rodan, and also Godzilla. So those are episodes, I don't know, like 50 episodes ago. You can take a look for those. All right, and here is the 2005 King Kong toy series with Jack Black. Now, the toys, it's a whole series of toys. They came out with like the V-Rexes and the other, the animals they fight and everything. But I'm not going to show you that today, just the Kongs. So you can see the scale again. These were about $10, so they're really good for what they came out with. $10 back then. They all have a little gimmick. So you turn him and he locks in place. You push a button on the back, so he can do like a punch. So here's the button. So you turn him, and he can maybe his hand. Look, he's even got a joint in the hand. So instead of taking the hands on and off, it actually has it where you can bend the fingers. And I always like that because it's a pain to keep track of where all your hands are. And then you push and he's like, bap, okay? And, he could turn his head a bit. And the head is a softer plastic than the body, but they're very hefty and well made. You can see they fell off the table here several times and didn't break. It's got good hip articulation and knees, none of the, not double or any double hips or double elbows, but not bad for a $10 toy. Here's another one. They all have a little bit different, bodies, a little bit different features. So this one has a button in the back. So you take his arms up like this, and you see the button here, and then he's like doing that thing where he goes, boom, push the button and boom. So he's, doing some pounding. You can do each arm at a time. So they really were thinking, to be able to have it change one arm or two. And again, you have the hands that can grab things, and you have your head that turns, and the teeth it's a little softer. The plastic is softer. So that's that guy. And then this one here, I like this guy a lot. This is the more articulated one. So they just wanted to make one that doesn't have like as gimmicky. This gimmick is better articulation. So you have a torso joint, the other two don't. And then you have, more elbow movement. Okay, and shoulder. So you can get, you can make the fist and he can like beat his chest. And then you have better hip articulation. You don't have the plastic in the way. And look, you even have feet that can grip. So this is my favorite Kong of that series because it has the better articulation. And then we have the one that kept falling off the table here. All right, this guy, and he's pretty neat too. So he's more specific, so his hands don't close and his feet don't close. But he's got a lever in the back, and is a punching lever. So he can like hold on to somebody and then, I don't know, sock them one, And actually there was a, or, maybe just, go nuts on things and just, knock things around. But there was a Hulk Hogan WCW action figure, which I showed on my Hulk Hogan episode. I don't know which episode that is. I've done so many. But you could, it had like an arm that held onto it, and you had a knob here that you turned, and it like turned the arm and made it grab hard and kind of ratchet, and then it had a spring-loaded fist or a lever, and then you could make him punch while he's holding on to the other guy. This is kind of like that. All right. Well, these all came with little figures, and I have these are 2005. So in all these years since 2005, I have not played with these. And some of them, most of them, I haven't even taken out of their little packaging. So you have characters from the movie, and you could see they're still taped in there. And here's one of the giant like bugs. Okay, that in the movie. This other giant bug is not part of the movie. Here's another couple people. All right, so you have your, oh boy, you have your natives, and you have your explorers, and your Andero. Maybe we can figure out which one's supposed to be Jack Black. Adrian Brody was in it too. All right, so, all right, there's the Andero character. And then this guy, well, I think we know what's going to happen to him. He looks like he's about to get stepped on by something. And then, this is one of the guard guys who's got a little machine gun. And then here, look, here's a couple of the natives. And they would, worship and sacrifice to Kong. And they were going to sacrifice Andero. And see, they have the red eyes. So I don't know how they ended up with red eyes. Makeup, probably. I don't think they evolved to have red eyes. That's what I was saying. All right, so here's the guys inside, the packaging. And I don't know, maybe that's Adrian Brody or Jack Black. Adrian Brody has black hair. Jack Black has brown. So, but I don't know who they mean to. I don't know. I don't see him. All right, so here again, here's a couple other figures. And there's one of the natives that doesn't have the red eyes. All right. So maybe we should just open them up, huh? After all this time, let's just take them out. They'll be easier to store, right? All right. So let's see. Is this one different than the other? No, it's the same. So all right. So if you lose one, you have another. But this guy's different. Oh, this is the guy that was filming all the time. Right? I think that's a camera. I can't remember who was filming. I think, you know what? Maybe it is Jack Black who was filming all the time. Actually, that might be him. It's been a while since I've seen the movie. All right. And so this native's different. All the natives are different, actually. So here, they're pretty cool. So you can see him. Got the loincloth thing going on there. Yeah, they all do. Okay, so everybody dresses different. And maybe this is Adrian. It doesn't look like Adrian Brody, but he's tall, and this figure's tall. Oh, it's the same as this guy anyway. The other guy's just a little shinier. So, all right. So you would get the Kong, and then you would get you'd come with little figures, and they would come with a monster. Also, one of the little monsters that Kong fought. I'll take a look at this native. Okay, he's looking up. Yeah, he's different. See, they're both looking up, but they're They're both different hand positions. So that's pretty cool. All right. So they'd come with these different things. And today only, I am going to finally open this. I got this years ago at a thrift store for, I think it was like $3.99. And I was all excited. I was going to open it up. It turns out it was $100 on eBay. And I'm like, oh, I'm not going to open that. Oh, I should just keep it. I already have 4 of them open. And it comes with a comic book too. And I'm like, yeah, I'll just leave it in there. Well, the price has come down. And the other thing is, you know what? I just don't care anymore. I want to play with it. I want to, see it out of the package. I'm never going to, willingly sell it. Like, if I sell it, things are really bad. So I'm going to open it up right now. Let's take a look. I'm really curious about the comic book, too. I guess if the other ones came with comics, what would have been my thing is I would have kept the back. I would have taken the plastic off and kept the back and put the comic somewhere so I wouldn't lose it and then forget where I put it. That's what should have happened. So, all right, so the first thing we can note is that the way that everything is secured is not those little clear bungees, right? Because this is like 19 years ago. So it's the twisty, metal wire inside plastic, or maybe it's just plastic wire. So, there was that annoyance to have to deal with. So I'm gonna get some scissors or something so we can cut those. All right, so we got some wire cutters, and that's often the best way to take care of these things. You can aim them well and not accidentally cut your action figure. Okay, so we're going to get these flying bat-like things out. And the name of these is on the box. These are the Terra Pushmordax. Terra Pushmordax. Right, everybody knows that. So here's our Terra Pushmordaxes. Is there a plural for that? So they're like giant bats. So you can see they got like bat-like teeth. Do you remember that scene in the King Kong where he's fighting these things? Boy, are they annoying. They were biting them all up and scratching them. You know what? 3 claws. That's how he got those scratches on his chest. From these guys. Yeah, that makes sense. All right, so you get a couple of those, nice and bendable. And then we get this Kong. And we're going to see, does he have... He looks like he's the same body position as that other one that's like swatting at things, but let's see if he's different. Okay, and the one up here. And we got a couple on his ankles. They really bound him. You could see how it's really good that they try to get away from all these plastic binders and things, right? It's just a lot of material. All right, so we got him out. And let's see, is he just, I think he might be just like the other one. So he's got the thing, he twists, and you got the button on the back, and you push the button, and then he punches. And that looks really familiar, right? So let's see, is there any difference? And no, it is, yeah, it's the same. Although, the plastic is a little bit darker on the face. Could be because he's been in the package longer. But, sometimes there's just little paint variations. But, yeah, it's the same figure. Okay, so you open them up and you end up with the same thing. It's got the same scratch marks and everything. But at least now we have these guys to play with, right? So we didn't have those. And are you curious about the comic book? Because I am. So let's take a look at that. Now it says on the box, collect them all. Well, I guess I pretty much did. They didn't give me a choice. They told me. They ordered. It says it right here. It says collect them all, and it's an exclamation point. They're not giving me a choice. I did not collect the Creatures of Skull Island. I remember seeing those and not getting those. I think I have this, and I don't know where the creature is. But I do have other monsters. I definitely have Phoetodon. I love that guy. I have that guy, and I have different size V-Rexes and Raptors. So, okay, so you can see, if you're not sure how to have fun with this, you could see you can grab on and swing them around, and then they're telling you how you can have fun. So that's great. All right, so here's the comic book, and that's a V-Rex. And then, all right, Kong is King. And, maybe all of the toys have the same comic book. That seems likely. So, yeah, so there he is. There's a couple of Raptors. Raptors. And then there's the V-Rex. And the V-Rex is going after the Raptors. And then what happens here? Well, and then he bumps into King Kong. And things probably don't go too well for the V-Rex. And sure enough, they face off. And King Kong, there he takes out the V-Rex. And wham. And then that's it. And then that's it for the V-Rex for now. So maybe there was the end. Now we don't know. Maybe there was another comic. And look here. And then you can see these are toys from like 20 years ago. Those are the Ninja Turtles, Monster Trappers, and Sewer Spewer. So yeah, these are Playmates toys. And Playmates makes the toys now for Godzilla X Kong. And in fact, NECA stopped making Godzilla toys because they didn't want to compete with Playmates. So they let Playmates take over and make the toys instead, which I really like the NECA Godzilla, so I'm not really happy about that. But Playmates always has made great toys, so just well made. They don't break easily, and lots of little extra features. So there you go. There's my definitive, I guess 6-7-inch Kong figures. And of course, we saw this guy recently in one of the Godzilla Kong episodes, but I do have other Kongs. This is the big Kong from that movie, and you can see, how he scales. And he fights the big V-Rexes, actually, the big V-Rex toy. And you push there, he's got a rubber face. And again, Playmates, right? You push the button and the face moves. And he would make jungle noises. You can see it on the other episode. He roars and makes jungle noises. And, he's got a lever in the back, and you can beat his chest. You see, you pull that back and forth like that. They took the batteries out. You can... Oh, no, there you go. Oh, okay. And you make him roar by pushing the on button here on the side. And then, beating his chest also activates the noise. And then you can put the people in his hand. He's got his hand will open up. And there you go. And he's got a little thumb. You can move his thumb a little bit. See that? So, there you go. So you have you can open the hand and the thumb. And that crunching noise is people or V-Rex mouth pulling it apart. So, all right, there you go. All right, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. And I now have to put all these Kong toys away. All right, take care. Talk to you soon.